Okay, I'm ready to create the part. I'm in sketch mode, so it's waiting for me to draw a closed sketch that represents the most typical shape of the part that I'm trying to create. In this case, looking from the top, and if I show you on here under origin and XY plane, you can see that you're actually looking at the top. I'm hitting escape to get out. But I'm actually looking from the top down onto the part. The yellow square represents the origin of that part, the beginning point of the part, or actually more accurately the point at which a cursor will be attached to the part if you take it and bring it into an assembly of parts. So on the L shape that we want to create, this is the bottom left corner of the L shape. The way that we draw it, if I pick the line command, you see that I can go in and I can pick to connect to the origin itself, and then I can draw a rough sketch. Now by rough sketch I can actually draw it any shape I want and then apply constraints. The way this works though is if you eyeball it in and you draw something that looks like it's supposed to be horizontal, the software will apply the constraint that you saw at the end there, forcing it to be horizontal. Right? So you see if I move up there, it's a little hard to, let me move it a bit. See what it's doing is assuming that you want that to be at right angles to the point that you had just placed, or the line that you just placed. So it's actually got the ability to interpret automatically how you're drafting, what the constraints are. Parallel, so it's showing the two lines parallel to each other. Up here it's showing me now when I move my cursor up here, parallel to, and it's showing me that it's parallel to the line at the right hand side. Back above the beginning point, parallel to the line on the bottom, and then closing my sketch. Okay, now let me undo all of that because I just want to show you that if I'd done something like this, if I had said, and I'm exaggerating the shape, all of them are green because it doesn't know, all the lines are green because it doesn't know what the geometric constraints are, because I wasn't drawing close to anything that was horizontal or vertical or parallel. It didn't put any constraints in. But I could draw like this and I could come back, and then what I could say is, you know what, I want to control the shape by saying that that bottom line should be horizontal. I can make that horizontal. I can make that horizontal just to make sure. I can go to the, oops, so it's got the it's got it already on there. If I go to vertical, I could force that to be vertical. Similarly, I could force that to be vertical, and I could force that to be vertical. And so I've gotten back to the point where I've really got an L shape. The blue indicates that it knows the location of the lines. The green indicates that it needs a bit more information. So it might know how these are related one to the other, but it doesn't know what the distance is between here and say that line. So I always think of it as if I was giving somebody instructions on how to draw this L shape. The first instruction on the bottom here was, well, make me a horizontal line. The second instruction is kind of like this. If I pick the line, the dimension, I pick the line itself, is how long should that be? Once I've told it what the distance is, now this line is fixed. Similarly, if I did this, and I tell it what the height is, what's going to happen to the line on the top? It turns blue because now it's fixed, because it knows that distance. Okay, now this is different from CAD drafting, and you see if I grab that there, I can't drag it and move it because it's being driven by the dimension. This is what parametric means, really driven by dimensions. If I go in here and I change that dimension and said you are to be 2.5 inches, then it drives the sketch up. So that's the relationship. If I do the same down here, and I say you're to be 2.5 inches, okay, it's got the size. So I need some extra dimensions to locate. Remember my drafting instructions, go 2.5 inches that way, then I want something that is in this direction, but I don't know how big it is. I could pick the line and put the dimension in. The other way is to pick one line and then another line, and it knows that that's me trying to put the dimension. This was to be 3/4. Right? So if I place it, click on it, I can say you are to be 0.75. What's going to happen is that now this line is fixed. If I do the same thing up here, this time I'll just pick it and place it, and I want that to be 0.75. Okay, so that's one way of creating the closed sketch. Now it's all blue. It's a constrained profile. It has the shape from the constraints, and it has the sizes from the dimensions. If I say I'm finished with the sketch, it shows me it here, and then I've got the options of, now what do you want to do with it? Do you want to revolve it around to create a something like you would create on a lathe, like something this kind of shape? Sorry, the lathe would be this kind of shape. Or do you want to extrude it? The pictures show you what it is that you're going to create. We want to extrude it 2.5 inches. So if I say extrude, it'll show me values up here. So the profile that it's got here is going to be extruded a distance of 1 inch. If I came in here and said 1.5, sorry, 2.5 is the size that is in the exercise. And in these options are you could change the direction that it's sending it in, or you could send it 1.25 inches either side of the sketch. But I'm going to choose the one that's just extruding it the way that the default is, like that. And that's you made the first part of your the first feature of your part.